Welcome, sleepless listeners, to another tale to haunt your dreams. I'm your keeper of nightmares, and tonight we venture into the shadows of Blackthorn Manor, a place where the walls whisper, the air grows heavy, and the past refuses to stay buried. Light a candle, pull your blankets tight, and listen closely, because some doors, once opened, can never be closed. In the autumn of 1972, Clara Voss arrived in the remote village of Hollofen, England. She was a young scholar, barely 25, with a passion for unraveling old mysteries. Her latest obsession? Blackthorn Manor, a crumbling estate perched on a fog-choked hill, has been abandoned since the 1920s. The locals called it cursed, said it watched you. Clara didn't believe in curses, but the promise of uncovering the manor's secrets, tied to a lost family, the Blackthorns, drew her like a moth to flame. The manor loomed against the gray sky, its spires jagged like broken teeth. Ivy clung to its stone walls, and the windows stared down, dark and unblinking. Clara's guide, an old groundskeeper named Tom Wren, warned her to stay away. "It's not the ghosts you should fear," he muttered, his eyes darting to the manor. "It's the house itself." Clara laughed it off, but as she stepped through the rusted iron gates, the air grew colder. The door creaked open without a touch, as if inviting her in. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the shadows seemed to shift just beyond her lantern's glow. She felt watched. Clara spent days exploring the manor, uncovering journals from Eliza Blackthorn, the last matriarch who vanished with her family decades ago. The entries spoke of strange dreams, voices in the walls, and a presence that grew stronger each night. Eliza wrote of her daughter Lila, only 8 years old, who began speaking in a voice that wasn't hers, a voice that knew things no child could. "She calls herself Mother Night," Eliza had written. "She wants Lila, she wants us all." Clara dismissed it as madness until she heard it herself. At night, as she camped in the manor's library, whispers slithered from the walls. "Clara, they hissed, her name stretched into a serpentine drawl. She froze, her lantern flickering. The shadows on the walls twisted, forming shapes, hands, faces, eyes. She told herself it was exhaustion, but then she found Lila's doll in the attic, its porcelain face cracked, its eyes too human. When she touched it, the whispers stopped, and the doll's head turned toward her. Clara stumbled back, her heart pounding. The manor seemed to pulse, the walls groaning like a living thing. She found more of Eliza's notes, frantic now. "Mother Night is the house. It feeds on us, on our fears. It won't let us leave." Clara laughed nervously. She could leave any time, couldn't she? But when she tried the front door, it wouldn't budge. The windows wouldn't break. The manor was holding her. Desperate, Clara dug deeper, piecing together the Blackthorn's fate. Eliza's husband, Edmund, had tried to save Lila, consulting a priest named Father Anselm. The journals described a ritual to banish Mother Night, but it failed. Lila's behavior grew worse. She spoke in tongues, her eyes black as pitch, her small body twisting unnaturally. Father Anselm's final entry, scrawled in trembling ink, read, "It's not a demon. It's older. It's the manor itself." Clara began to feel it too. A weight in her chest, a voice in her mind urging her to stay, to belong to Blackthorn. She saw Lila in her dreams, or something wearing Lila's face, beckoning her to the basement. "Join us," it whispered. "Be our family." Each night the dreams grew stronger, and Clara woke with scratches on her arms, as if she'd clawed herself in her sleep. She found a hidden door in the library leading to a basement sealed for decades. Inside, she discovered symbols carved into the walls, spirals, eyes, words in a language she couldn't read. At the center was a mirror, its surface rippling like water. When Clara looked into it, she didn't see her reflection. She saw them, Eliza, Edmund, Lila, their faces pale, their eyes pleading. And behind them a shadow loomed, its form shifting, whispering her name. Clara ran, but the manor seemed to twist around her. Hallways looped endlessly, doors led to nowhere, and the whispers grew louder, now a chorus. "Stay, stay, stay!" Clara knew she had to destroy Mother Night, or become its next victim. She found Father Anselm's ritual notes and gathered salt, candles, and a silver locket she'd found in Lila's room. In the basement, she began the ritual, chanting words she barely understood, her voice trembling. The manor fought back. The walls bled black ichor. The mirror shook and the shadow within it screamed. "You cannot leave!" it roared in a voice that rattled her bones. Lila's form appeared, her body floating, her head tilted at an impossible angle. "You're ours now," she said, her voice layered with something ancient. Clara poured salt in a circle, lit the candles, and clutched the locket. The air grew heavy, the shadow in the mirror clawing its way out, its form a mass of writhing limbs and eyes.
With a final cry, Clara smashed the locket against the mirror. The glass exploded, and the manor shook as if in pain. The whispers stopped. The air cleared. Clara stumbled outside, the front door now open, the fog parting. She ran, never looking back, as Blackthorn Manor groaned behind her, its windows dark once more.
Clara never returned to Holofen. The manor still stands, silent, waiting. Some say it's empty now. Others say Mother Night is patient, biding her time for the next curious soul. So, listeners, if you ever find yourself near a house that feels alive, turn away. Some doors are better left unopened. The next incident I'm about to share is a true story. In the winter of 1983, the Harper family arrived in Holleridge, a forgotten town nestled in the shadow of Maine's Black Pine Mountains. John and Ellen Harper, with their 12-year-old daughter, Sophie, sought a fresh start after a string of hardships. They'd bought the old Carver house, a sagging Victorian manor, for a steal. The locals whispered of its history, a brutal murder in 1965 when Elias Carver killed his wife and son before vanishing. But John, a pragmatic mechanic, scoffed at ghost stories. Ellen, a nurse, saw only a fixer-upper. Sophie, though, felt the house's weight the moment they crossed the threshold. The Carver house was cold, its wallpaper peeling like dead skin. The air smelled of damp earth and the windows rattled even on still nights. Sophie swore she heard footsteps above her bedroom, but the attic was empty. John dismissed it as mice, but Ellen found strange marks on the walls, scratches like claw marks, too high for a child to make. The townsfolk avoided the Harpers except for old Maeve, a shopkeeper who warned Ellen, "That house don't let go. It's marked by blood." That night, Sophie woke to a voice whispering her name. It came from the basement. Ellen found Sophie sleepwalking toward the basement door, her eyes glassy, muttering words that weren't English. John carried her back to bed, but Sophie's nightmares grew worse. She dreamed of a woman with hollow eyes beckoning her to feed the house. Ellen discovered a hidden journal under the basement stairs written by Margaret Carver, Elias's wife. The entry spoke of a hunger in Holleridge tied to the mountains, a force that demanded sacrifice. Margaret wrote of her son Thomas acting strange, singing to an unseen mother in the woods. "Mother wants us to stay," Thomas had told her, "forever." Sophie began to change. She drew spirals on her walls, her hands smudged with dirt. At night, she'd stand in the yard, staring at the Black Pine Mountains, whispering to someone or something. Ellen called Father Daniel, a retired priest who sensed an old presence in the house. He found symbols carved under the floorboards, spirals like Sophie's drawings and words in an unknown tongue. "This isn't just a haunting," he said. "It's something older tied to the land." One night, Sophie vanished. John found her in the basement, her hands bloody from scratching at the walls. Her voice wasn't her own. It was deep, guttural, snarling. "The hunger wakes." The lights flickered and the house groaned as if alive. Father Daniel believed the Carver house was a conduit for a force buried in the Black Pine Mountains, awakened by Elias's murders. He urged the Harpers to leave, but the doors wouldn't open, the windows wouldn't break. Desperate, John searched the basement and found a tunnel leading toward the mountains. Margaret's journal hinted at a ritual in 1965. Elias had tried to feed the hunger by killing his family, but it wasn't enough. The force wanted more. Sophie's condition worsened. Her eyes turned black, her body contorted, and she spoke in voices, Margaret's, Thomas's, and something older, calling itself the Mother of Hollows. Father Daniel attempted a blessing, but the house fought back. Objects flew, and Sophie screamed, "You can't stop her!" Ellen, frantic, noticed Sophie's drawings pointed to a cave in the mountains where Margaret had seen lights in the dark. Against Father Daniel's warnings, John led Ellen and the priest into the tunnel, carrying Sophie, who was now feverish and silent. The cave was vast, its walls etched with spirals and bones, human and animal, scattered on the floor. In the center, a pool of black liquid pulsed, and the air hummed with a voice. "Feed me." Shadows moved in the corners, humanoid but wrong, their limbs too long. Sophie woke, her voice a chorus. "She's here!" The shadows lunged and the cave shook. Father Daniel shouted a prayer, clutching a cross, but the shadows tore it from his hands. John found a stone altar with a spiral carving and Margaret's final journal entry. blood wakes her. Blood binds her. Ellen realized the hunger needed a sacrifice to stop, or it would take Sophie. She grabbed a shard of bone ready to offer herself, but Sophie, in a moment of clarity, whispered, "No, Mama." "All of you," the Mother of Hollows roared, her voice shaking the cave. The pool boiled and the shadows merged into a towering form, eyeless with a maw of jagged teeth. John threw a lantern at the pool, igniting it. Flames erupted and the shadows screamed. Ellen dragged Sophie out as the cave collapsed, Father Daniel's prayers echoing behind them. The tunnel sealed and the house above fell silent. The Harpers fled Holleridge, never speaking of that night. The Carver house was razed, but the Black Pine Mountains still loom, untouched. No one knows what the Mother of Hollows was. A demon, a god, or something older. The Harpers disappeared and Holleridge stays quiet. Too quiet. If you ever wander those mountains, listen for whispers in the wind. What hungers in Holleridge may still wait. Sleep lightly, listeners. This is your guide through the dark, wishing you uneasy dreams. Sleep well, if you can. Until next time, this is your keeper of nightmares bidding you a restless good night.